As storytellers, we believe it is imperative for us to study the art of storytelling. Today, we are going to be discussing character arcs for side characters. When you think about your favorite side characters, they are usually ones that have their own arc within the overall story. But when and where do we choose to put these arcs in our stories? That's the question we're going to be answering in this video.
I'm here now. What do you want to talk about?
So first thing we should do is identify what an arc is. In a story, there will always be something learned by our main character, either about themselves or about the world around them, or in the best stories, about both themselves and the world around them. This in turn causes them to have to readjust their worldview, and thus is the reason for our hero's journey.
Junior, give me your other hand. I can't hold on. I can get it. I can almost reach it, Dad. Indiana?
Now that's all good and well for our main character, but let's talk about doing something similar for our side characters. And we want to get one thing straight here and now. You can't give every character an arc. It's too much for a 2-hour film. Maybe in a TV show or a book, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Character arcs are there to guide your story, and if there's too many guides, you end up going nowhere.
Come on, why don't you take a look around? You know what's about to happen, what they're up against. They could use a good pilot like you. You're turning your back on them.
What good's the reward if you ain't around to use it? Besides, attacking that battle station ain't my idea of courage.
With that said, we do think that your minor characters should have arcs, just smaller minor arcs. Minor arcs require little more than the basic framework for a normal arc. They start at one end with a flaw, grow throughout the story, and finally end up with the strength they need in the end. One of our favorite examples of these arcs is Han Solo in Episode 4. He goes from a self-centered jerk to the person that cares more about the galaxy than the money.
Look out! You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home.
And this idea can be used for a few of your characters. As Michael Hogg says in Writing Screenplays That Sell, ask yourself, is there an arc to each primary character story? Meaning that your antagonist, sidekick, and love interest should all have clear goals. Those goals should be built up and resolved by the end of the story. For example, we have Murphy from Interstellar. She has her own goal of figuring out the other half of the gravity equation. And although it's not as big of an arc, it's an arc with its own ups and downs and its own resolution. But we don't want you to think that these arcs should stand alone. They need to be important to the story of your main character, so they can't be separate. A perfect example of this is Harvey Dent in The Dark Knight. His story is wholly his own, but is always affected by and affecting the main story with Batman. The more in-depth their arcs, the more obvious those goals must contribute to a cohesive thematic whole.
Where were you?
Worried you'd have to step up?
Harvey, I know these briefs backwards.
Well then, fair's fair. Heads I'll take it, tailsies all yours.
Then how do we figure out which side characters should have arcs? That is entirely up to the theme of your story. Many stories can touch on different themes, but for the most part, your story should be concerned with one theme. And that is what you should look at when deciding which of your side characters will have arcs. If your theme is about addiction, then the characters that have arcs should have different takes on that theme. If one character is struggling with substance abuse, let another struggle with addiction to a bad relationship. By keeping the main theme present in each arc, your audience will compare and contrast them. And that's what you want.
Why would you listen to me now?
I'm sorry, Harvey.
No. No, you're not. Not yet.
You want them to understand the connection between the different arcs, instead of scratching their heads wondering why we keep coming back to that one side character. So the next time you are writing your story and feel like a side character could be more, try giving them an arc. But remember that the arc can't be more fleshed out than your protagonist's arc. or else they become the protagonist instead. And take that thought to more than just one side character. Try it with your antagonist and your love interest. It's how you make them feel more like real characters. And finally, when you're deciding to give a side character an arc, make sure it deals with the main theme of your story. Do that, and you won't go wrong. And as always, keep writing.